And we all know as human brains, right? I'm going to protect myself and go, oh no, I need to fit in and I need to seem like I know what I'm doing. And so I'm just not going to say anything.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show. Good morning, Tony. How are you today?
Good morning. I am very well. Thank you very much.
Hello to all of our listeners out there. We have something really common that we actually want to talk about, and it's us just choosing to live in a confusing world, right? And so let me break that down a little bit, and then I'm going to have Tony give us some examples and some tools as to how we can have more clarity in our lives. So have you ever looked at your schedule for the day or thought about kind of what your day might look like, and it all feels confusing and overwhelming? Maybe you don't know where to start, or you don't even know really what to do or how to go about your day, right? That happens to me all the time. And I can feel overwhelmed a lot. And there are some ways that we can go about our day and go about life that help us not be confused by it and not be living in confusion. So Tony, share an example with us of what that really means and what is a tool that we can use to overcome that on a daily basis.
This whole idea of choosing confusion is something we all live with, right? We wake up in the morning and we look at things and we just go, oh, confused. And we do that because it almost gives us a way out of doing the hard work, right? Oh, I'm confused, so I can sidestep it, or I don't need to do that. And as a great example of that happened just this morning. My daughter sent me a message saying, the history work is too much. I don't understand what she's trying to teach me or what she wants me to learn. And along with all of the other work that I'm going on at school right now, I feel overwhelmed. And I sent her a message back saying, sorry to hear that. I kind of heard her and I let her know that I hear what you're saying. And then I just said, have you asked the history teacher what she's expecting of you and what she's wanting to learn, or what she's wanting you to learn? And she said, no, I haven't asked her. I was like, well, why don't you ask her? And I was like, is there a problem with you asking her? And she goes, no, it's just scary. And at that moment, I was like, oh, this is quite a simple problem of you actually choosing confusion, because confusion in that state means it means she doesn't have to do the hard work of putting herself out there in a seemingly fashion that says, I don't get it, I don't understand. And when you say that to someone, I don't get it and I don't understand, you're being very vulnerable, because you're opening yourself up to seem as if you don't know something. And we all know as human brains, right? I'm going to protect myself and go, oh no, I need to fit in and I need to seem like I know what I'm doing. And so I'm just not going to say anything. But we then choose confusion and live out the rest of that day confused and frustrated, and it never serves us. And so we have a choice. We can choose clarity, right? And that's the two. The two opposing facts there are confusion or clarity, and which you are going to choose. Choosing confusion is simple, it's easy, and it's the easy way out. Choosing clarity is a challenging road and a pathway that you've got to take to really make sense of your world. And it is simple as asking a question. I don't get this. Can you explain that in more detail?
I think that can be a really helpful tool in instances where maybe someone's delegating something to us. Maybe it's at work, in your daughter's case, at school, things like that. So another question I might have is, well, what if I look at my schedule and I'm confused about how to go about it? Because it's all just things in my own life. It's not like someone's delegating them to me. You know, I'm a responsible adult, so I just know I got to pay my bills. I got to take care of my dogs. I got to do this, got to do that. Sometimes it can be confusing and overwhelming when there's no one to ask. So what do we do in that sense?
It's a great question. And a lot of this came from my own life of, running Pure Game with all of the stuff that goes with running a business. I sometimes can look at that and feel really overwhelmed. And in those moments of feeling overwhelmed, I will choose confusion and sit in the confusion which then frustrates me more. But then what happens is I become the victim, and there's no way out of that for me. And if we look at a storyline, a victim is always helpless and hopeless and doesn't change. And so what we've got to do is change our mindset to become the hero of that story, and then take a step back almost and look at what's in front of us. So if you've got a full schedule and you're looking at an overwhelmingly busy calendar, and you go, well, where do I start? What do I do? And the question to ask yourself is quite a simple one. What one thing can I do right now to help me get closer to my goal or my objective or the outcome? What is one thing I can do? Just a simple step that I can actually move through. And once you start making that one action, that one step, clarity seems to follow, because you're now going, oh, I get it now. I've got to do X, Y, and Z to follow up with that. But always ask yourself the question, what's one thing I can do to help me get through this, to help me reach my objective or my goal?
I love that, because that's something that's been so helpful in my life, and I haven't necessarily framed it in those words, but in my mind I frame it as kind of this like bite-sized chunk. Okay, what is this little bite-sized chunk I can bite off, the giant thing, and I can accomplish this, this feels tangible, this feels achievable, and that one little piece will then get you to the next step, where once you get there, then you can say, oh, now what's one more thing I can do, and one more thing. It can help us kind of take apart this big picture and make it actionable.
Another thing that we can do to help us with this, which is a little brain trick, right? We're gonna trick our brain into thinking something, and it's simply a matter of doing a minimum of and a maximum of. If I want to write a blog post, it can seem very big and very confusing, and my brain is going to avoid confusing or confusion, right? It's not going to step into that. And so it will make all the excuses not to do it. But I can trick myself into starting by saying, I'm going to start by writing for a minimum of 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And I'm going to actually just go, okay, just 5 minutes. All I need to do is write 5 minutes of stuff. And then I can start writing. And if I can get 5 minutes done, I can quit at that moment and say, I'm done. I'm out. I've done my 5 minutes for the day. I'll put the rest on tomorrow. But sometimes that tricks the brain into going, oh, I can do more. I'm on a flow. But then you also want to put a maximum, and you put the maximum so your brain doesn't fall for the trick again, right? And so you go, I'm going to put a maximum of 15 minutes. So once you get to 15 minutes, you stop, you quit, you get up, you walk away, and you come back to it later on, because then your brain will then go, I've made an agreement and I've kept the agreement with myself. So minimum maximum is also another way that you can plow your way through some of the confusion that we choose. And again, we choose confusion because it's easy, and our brain doesn't like the bigger picture of the hard work.
I love these tools because they perfectly align with what we talk about here on the Tiff and Tony Show so often, and at Pure Game, is putting in that hard work so that we can grow and be the best versions of ourselves. So this is our challenge to you, is combat your confusion with clarity. We just give you 2 awesome tools that you can put into practice starting right now, and go out there and challenge yourself to grow. Well, thank you, Tony. As always, it's awesome hanging out with you. And everybody, thank you so much for supporting us, and we'll see you back here next week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining Tony and me in this week's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show. We hope you feel encouraged and motivated to keep growing with us. If you like what we do here at Pure Game, one of the best ways you can support us is by liking and sharing this video with your friends on social media. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel using the button directly below this video on YouTube, and you can donate at our website, www.thepuregame.org. And with that, we'll see you right back here next week.